You know, when you are young, you want to be seen. You want to be heard. You want to be at the forefront of those things. So I had a lot of run-ins with police, authority.
Yes, sir.
As this young, angry kid who speaks good English. Then.
Qhakaza Mntase sithi Mntase Qhakaza. Qhakaza Mntase sithi Mntase Qhakaza. Qhakaza Mntase sithi Mntase Qhakaza. 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 Qhakaza Mntase sithi Mntase Qhakaza. Qhakaza Mntase sithi Mntase Qhakaza. Qhakaza Mntase sithi Mntase Qhakaza. Qhakaza. Qhakaza.
Sanbonani Tumelanga Psheni, hello, Goeiemorgen, and welcome once again to Qhakaza Mntase's business segment. My name is Davian James Sampson, and as you know, I never roll alone. Grootman, greet your people at home.
Yes, Musela Kuapolapuli, viewers all over the country. My name is Olwethu Hoyana. Looking forward to this day episode.
Yes. It looks like we have back-to-back heavyweights, Mkhuluwa, man. Our previous episode, we had a titan in business. Today, we have a titan in the entertainment industry. But before we let Qhakaza introduce himself, we once again would like to thank all our key sponsors because without them, none of what's happening here takes place. So Captain Joe's Pilchards all the way from Cape Town, Smart Diva accommodations here in East London, number 78 Longfellow, Equigny. Let's actually give them the address too, just so you know your accommodation needs. They are all met here. So Fastique, Evolve, all of our key critical partners who ensure that everything here takes place. We want to thank them once again for their support. And now, into the main thing, man. We have someone who is regarded as a heavyweight in the entertainment industry. Olwethu, would you be so kind as to greet our viewers at home, Dad?
Makaya, Kamalam Olwethu Hoyana. I don't know, close to heavyweight are you? Are you subbing me on my size?
Listen. Those slight jabs are not thrown yet. Once you get more comfortable,
lovely to be here, guys.
Thank you so much. Uthani, as someone who is on that level, we allow you to have that opening engagement, Dad.
No, for sure. Thanks, Olwethu. Abantu bazazibuza emakhaya. He already mentioned that we are a titan and we were curious about who is this Olwethu. So please share your background, Olwethu. Usuka phi Olwethu, ngubani, wathini. So sicela nje londo.
Okay, thanks, Puti. Olwethu Hoyana, like I said, to Kurela Bemont, born in Mntase, to very young parents in that big year of 1976. For the better part of my childhood, my mother was a student. My dad, a teacher who was just starting out. So I was raised by my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, in the initial stages, and then, moved from Mntase to Alice, where my dad was teaching. Also had other relatives looking after us, at that time, because like I say, my mother was still a student at UCT. Moved to 1985. Moved to Episho. Lived at Episho from 1985 to 1993. A big year in my life, 1993. Then we moved to East London. So no, from 93 to now, I've been, so that's 30 years, no?
Yeah.
30 years. I'd say a big chunk of my life. And Kaya, Kwelecha, Kwelale to Gwajongilanga. And then the Pangela, up South Africa.
Exactly. There was no specification as to where. That's how these heavyweights operate. Get that? There's no specific place where I can be located, but just know in this general vicinity you will find me. Qhakaza, I read something interesting about you. It says that you are the youngest nightclub owner in South African history. Could you take us through that as a young man to get to a point of not just starting out but to own something as yours?
Yeah, so my life, I always say my life worked in reverse. You know, the things I should have done when I was older,
started young.
Because only
So I did mention the one because my mom was 21 when she had me. My grandmother, my maternal grandmother was a nurse or matron in Mntase General Hospital, so she obviously had to work. My dad was just starting out as a teacher. Meaning ndanyengezwa ndandikuqiniswa esikolweni, you know, at a very young age. So I was back then it was ngabi kwi-grades ndawubekwa kwa-sub A. Kwa-sub A, I mean at the age of 4. And I think maybe I was a curious kid, I guess, because my school life just continued. So as a result, I finished matric at 16.
So 2 years when not before.
Yeah, you know, so I finished matric at 16. But you know, let's cool out. Okay, you know, it's a big pride factor. In the if no 9. And it's lovely to get you by, but then in reality is that at 16 you don't know the
much
difference between your nose and your butt. So you're not mature enough. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. After matric, and then I enrolled for a social science degree because I was told, man, when I'm good with people, so maybe you must do social science.
Yes.
And then I got there, and then when you look at the options, yes, am I going to be a social worker? Am I going to be an industrial psychologist? None of those things interested with that. So as a result, I got very, very bored at university. I dropped out in my second year. So age 18, I'm like, Mama, I don't want to do this. Okay, so what are you going to do? I don't know. Because I didn't have the career guidance that was needed, or the maturity. But also, at that time, it's a very interesting period for any young person. Age 18. And the son of at 17 is only indoor. And but I've got this degree that I'm doing that I don't like. I'm discovering girls. I'm falling in love.
Hey, the right, left, and center.
My friends naturally are older, much older than me. But they're getting married. They've got careers. You know, they drive nice cars. They've got money. So interested in this life
Yes.
of theirs. Actually, because they are friends, you see yourself as actually
They.
being there now. And we used to remember 94. This is the year of the Democratic South Africa.
Yes, sir.
We had been exposed to taverns in the townships, and you know, I suppose in the townships we roamed around. We were not exposed to the laws of the republic in general. So we were youngsters running around Southern the Queen here. You know, others have just bazofunda mhlawumbe uneflat erendelwa kwabo. You know, see, we like to jam in those places, and then we are disturbing neighbors, and the police must do their job to disperse. And then we are these young kids in the new South Africa who are just discovering our freedom. You know, to party in the Queen in 1994, 1995 was a big thing.
Yeah.
You know, to rent a flat in Southernwood. You know, so we are jamming in these places, but we are fighting with police. We are fighting with neighbors, white neighbors who don't understand these black kids that have just come into their
From out of nowhere.
you know, and have no
Disturbing the
respect
peace.
for the noise. You know? So, and I was. At that stage, I say 1993 was a very interesting year in my life because also my parents separated. So I think I had a lot of anger. I was a very angry youth. So in these confrontations with the police, I was always at the forefront.
Yes.
Because, and I mean, this is where the maturity thing comes in. You know, when you are young, you want to be seen. You want to be heard. You want to be at the forefront of those things. So I had a lot of run-ins with police, authority.
Yes, sir.
As this young, angry kid who speaks good English. Then
And surrounded by abantu
and
abadala.
surrounded by older people, and you know. So after many of these things, it just dawned on me, maybe we should try this. Maybe there's a business in this. Why don't I try and get a place legally where we cannot be kicked out?
Yes, sir.
And we can do what we want to do, party as much as we do, but I'll also be the one that sells these drinks that we seem to enjoy.
So make money while we enjoy.
Yeah, make money. But it also gives you, I mean, you are the main guy. You know.
So you're into
I used to, you know, having grown up with a married but single father in essence, because my mother was at school. My dad hosted a lot of parties, so I had a beautiful ear for music. I loved music. You know, I could escape through music. I could. So I used to DJ at these parties. I was the guy that had the cassette, or the latest CD. So my first club was in 1995 in Vincent.
Of all places.
Of all places.
Of all places.
So at a New Colonnade Center, there had been a restaurant they called the King Prawn. And I convinced my mother that, listen, I want to go into business and please help me. Let's sign a lease or rent this place. And I'm going to sell food and drinks. And so Wraparound the nightclub was born in 1995. So I turned 19 in 1995.
I'm just curious. So 95, Sakari Democracy, I think most people, they don't even know economy wise bazakwazi imali izawuphuma ngaphi okanye yintoni that we can do. And when already you seeing an opportunity ndingaqala le business, seziqale out of fun ifuna space, but ngoku uqala business, and I'm trying to figure out yayinjani, was that registered or it was just informal, mandibe nendawo nje and then be nightclub abantu baza kuza, and then uyiformalize kwakho yabani.
It was, I would say, but it was informal in a sense, because now, like I say, I was 19, fresh out of university. I actually had a job for a year where I was a rep for Cadbury's. And I was just not happy with the stringent controls.
9 to 5.
I have a 9 to 5, I got a company car, but I can't do certain things now, but you know,
it's yours, but it's not really yours.
And then I was like, no, man, keep this job. Okay, I'm okay, you know. With it. I've got my own little bakkie at home. So if transport is really an issue, I don't need this. So it was informal because I didn't have a registered company. But also, it was my first jab at business.
Yes.
You know, I attended a sales conference in Swaziland. Was as a rep. Yes, a Cadbury. Earlier that year, and that was my first experience of a nightclub. Well, maybe not first because I'd gone to school in Grahamstown. And we used to, you know, at Rhodes, right? So at Rhodes, so I was at St. Andrews College, a boys' school. But you know, as boys, we would sneak out at night and go to the township. And the colored nightclubs were hot, nice chicks, yellow bones, you know. So it was a thing, you know. So it
was the place to be.
I'd had the nightclub experience, but it hadn't really captured me because I think maybe I was too young. But when at 18, I went to Swaziland. Yes, there was a place there called If Not, Why Not? That's the name of a club. So when you dug up the history, they'd say, you know, the place had been there a long time. Just outside Manzini. We were staying at a hotel called Lukoko. 5 kilometers away was this If Not, Why Not, which was almost like a lodge. But it had a nightclub and a bar and a little small bar which was called the Go-Go Bar. They had strippers. Now, if you've traveled, you will know that. Well, if you see that red dances in Swaziland that happens every year, you know that Swaziland women are beautiful. So you can imagine what I was exposed to in that strip club.
It drew you in, it grabbed your attention.
As a wide-eyed 19-year-old or 18-year-old, I fell in love every night.
These are the joys of adulthood. Come see.
I fell in love every night. I remember thinking, yes, I have never seen any girl this beautiful in Island, and so
Jesus.
You know, strippers. There's always Andy that's looking after them. I went to negotiate with that Andy.
Oh, really?
Andy, man, I love this guy.
You were that smitten.
You, Fonin. I'm thinking I want to go home with her.
This one.
She probably thought, young man, you are punching way above your weight.
Yo, way above your weight.
So anyway, and I came back home with that picture. We were, of course, there for about 3 to 4 days, maybe a week at the most. And I came back with this picture of those beautiful nights of music and naked people or stylishly dressed money flying around.
Everywhere,
Man,
just.
what a pleasure. And I was like, but we don't have this at home. You know, the closest you can think of the was Stella, no man, we got to do this here at home.
Yes.
And so you know, it's a combination of all of those things that made me start. And I think because of the life stage, you know, like I said, my parents were newly separated.
Yes.
I had definitely changed my life plans. I was supposed to go to UCT.
Yes.
So I took a gap year. I was here, and I had these ideas, and my mother maybe was trying to appease me, and you know, so she helped me start. Yeah. And that's how I became the youngest guy, you know, at 19.
Yes.
I can officially, well, it's known.
It's known.
I had a very popular sport called wraparound. You might ask why wraparound? It was the most popular clothing item. If you lived in Jacob Zuma's time, it would have been the Qhakaza. That's how I've known
as the youngest.
Yeah. And then wraparound, people started to go. I'm sure, obviously, you changing the game. You are exposed. You were exposed. And then people were changing the game because obviously, I'll so wayenza whenever you club. So I'm sure started calling artists to come.
Yes. So you know, Islam in those days was beautiful. I mean, in fact, Islam is still beautiful even today. If you notice, we are the only metro or city out of the big cities that has a natural attraction for visitors.
Yes.
Out of town, people love Islam because people are warm.
Yeah,
the
friendly.
The ladies are beautiful.
Very beautiful.
And the guys are not territorial.
Yes.
You know, we love.
Very relaxed.
No, but this is true.
I think it's the beach influence. I think it's the fresh ocean air.
I don't know, D, but the thing is, I mean, Durban has a beach. Cape Town has a beach.
True.
But guys, they will kill you for their girls.
Yeah.
Now we are happy to negotiate. Okay, Mntase, but
yeah, man.
Yeah, you were nice, man.
Yeah.
So that's fine. So Islam is very hospitable. It hasn't changed much since the olden days. And so at that age, I started then, interacting with your Lindelani Mkizes of this world. You know, Lindelani is one of the guys behind Joyous Celebration. Was then MD of Sony Music. I got to meet great artists from the Kwaito era, still my friends. I met one of my highlights. I met Tebe. We are still close friends. I wrote all of Tebe's Xhosa lyrics. So you ask Tebe, all this, that's how he grew his Xhosa fan base.
So you're influenced
Tebe is paid actually, but obviously grew up in Mafikeng. And we clicked, we bumped into each other, performing forte. And I suppose we was the same age. White Pukishwe, Khodmano, Kodlo, and Kolisi, Nene, who were the entertainment gurus of that time.
Yes, yes.
And me and Tebe just struck a friendship at these gigs. So whenever he came to gig in East London or in the Eastern Cape, we'd spend a day or two, at my house. And I had a few gimmicks. Obviously, I was a big party guy.
Yes, sir.
So, as Badini, there's always a chant.
So
whether it could be a recitation. For example, Unomasele. That was just a gimmick.
Yes.
And we could find a rhythm into it. Can't let these lyrics. And I'd break it down and then would be a studio. And he'd produce a hit. So so I started bringing in a lot of national ex DJs and as earlier, we're talking 1995, 96, 97. And
the quiet I pamper so bring that like just bring.
So I was that guy if Kalawa Jasmine was on tour.
Yes.
Baba said Olwethu are coming. We're going to be doing interviews True FM and community radios.
Yes.
So I joined their tour from here. And I was a guy, I knew all the girls, I knew all the guys, and life was a party, man. And we'd travel all the way to Cape Town because Nasakap and we've got the constituents there.
That's number 10, playmaker.
I was number,
the playmaker.
Qhakaza would not cross the
For sure.
So and we carried on those relationships into Gauteng. It was 1998. Then I moved to Joburg.
So you closed the business here, and then
Budi, being a youthful, or being a youth. And everything happening so fast. South Africa is changing at a phenomenal rate. So to support the nightclub, I had a feeding scheme contract. I was feeding about 5,000 kids in the Tsolonga area.
Okay.
So that's actually where I was making money because the club thing, and it was my first business.
Yes.
So it's great for popularity and everything. But in reality is that if you're 19 and running a business, entertainment, firstly, your clientele is your age, if not younger.
Yeah.
And Oganye maybe slightly older. But in your 20s, really, no one is making money. So they can actually afford this thing. And if you are 19 or 20 and you've got all this alcohol and it seems a bit boring, and like I fit man, let's grab a bottle, let's just to loosen things up.
Just talk.
Just talk. And I mean, like I say, without a business background,
yes, sir.
Well, we're not supposed to do this, but actually it doesn't really mean anything. You understand? But you're also doing a lot of wrong things, like I used to DJ. And so you've got this nightclub, nice. You have got the ability to pull people, not a problem. But you also like playing, so I was saying to these people, come to my place, pay 5 rand to get inside, come and listen to me play, and also don't touch my girlfriends. Okay? And And your list,
My
your list
girlfriend.
what it is the stock, about the stock bar. So and Ngapa, you're gonna be the last person to leave here,
Yeah.
and you must still take one of your girlfriends home with you, maybe, if bakhona bashikile, because the boys was always counting.
Always on the prowl.
And but usisi yoklinayo uyafika apha ngo-9 when you are going to sleep at 6 or 7 and you must still do the things.
Hey.
You know, and so naturally you're gonna oversleep. So you get there at 12 because suddenly you're waking up.
Hey.
And you know, when you get there, she's mad. But you've also got an hour before the bottle store closes for you to restock. So you know. And then you are a jack of all trades. And then you must quickly stock up and then quickly get to beach burger because and you must be visible as part of your marketing so you can
attract,
bring these people. So you know, there's no systems because you're new in business. And you're also hogging everything, you know. But you realize as you grow, if you stay in that space, that you need to let go. You need to trust people. You need to put together systems that work.
Yes, sir.
For the business, for the customer or consumer, and for you, naturally, which means I must do due diligence. Can I trust you with the keys for my business?
Yes, sir.
On the basis that you must be open here at 9 o'clock. Because at 11 o'clock, the first customer is going to walk in through those doors, and this place has got to be spotless. Because these guys that are working at 11 o'clock don't care a damn about the fact that the last customer walked out of here at 6.
Yeah.
You understand?
Sure.
But you can't do all of these things yourself. Because if you try and do these things yourself, you're going to drop some balls.
Yeah.
And you're going to drop some serious balls.
Hey. I hear through the grapevine you're working for the SABC. It's a rapidly changing time, as you've stated. Tell us a bit about what it was like working for the SABC at such a critical time in its history.
Yeah, it's actually, I mean, I moved to Joburg in 98 and I worked for various corporates.
Yes.
I was in HR, I was in hospitality, and I went into consumer relations marketing.
So jack of all trades, Yamanyan.
Yeah. And so I joined the SABC after, I worked for the lottery. I launched Sports Take.
Yeah.
As brand manager on Sports Take. And when Utingo didn't renew the lottery license and went to, I think, Ituba or whoever the operator, I moved them to Metro FM. I got the job as head of marketing for Metro FM. I was 30, you know. Beautiful times. I mean, at 30, you are in the prime of your youth.
For sure.
You know, and I've just been given the license to be the second or third in charge of the largest urban radio station in the country. I mean, this talks to me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm that guy. You know, I'm the listener, I'm the consumer, but I'm also the guy behind driving the strategy to say to the SABC, this is how these people live.
Yeah.
You know, this is what they understand, and musically and otherwise. So it was a beautiful time in a changing urban situation. You know, But sadly, and I suppose as things, have played out, politics were to come into the game. It is, after all, a state-owned entity.
Yes, sir.
The regime that came in 2007, leading the ANC, had made a decision that the SABC, as the chief communicator of the country, must be aligned to the politics of party politics.
Yeah.
Now, similar to maybe what Zimbabwe and maybe other countries had done. To politicians, that's great.
Yeah.
But to a new democracy, it was not good.
Yeah.
And this is not about politics, but we've seen what those kind of politics have done to state entities right across.
Yeah.
Politics are politics, but people will leave. Media freedom is, you can't spoon feed people what you want them to hear.
Driving a specific narrative.
You understand? So you need to, media is there. This is there for people to take what's good of what I'm saying and leave what doesn't interest them. You know what I mean? So it was really great times. Like I say, we can now look back. Like I say, I was 30. I lost my job at 32 at a very critical point in my life, and with that, I lost everything. I lost everything. I lost relationships. I lost my houses. I lost everything. I started working, at 20. 19, 20. So I lost everything that I'd built in the 12 years before that. And had to start afresh. Took me some time to actually even accept that.
Yeah,
I'd lost my job, because you're falling from such a high horse. And the world loves a tragic story. And so mine was no different. But we pick ourselves up from such, because that's what life is about. Life is not about, for lack of a better word, you're not going to get a freeway.
Yeah, straight.
Yeah.
Perfect road.
You don't know where the happy band is going to be, And this is the story that I would like people to take out of my story.
Yes, sir.
All you have is yourself. In general.
Yeah.
So and in hindsight, as much as it was my lowest point and probably weakest, it was also my most critical point, because then I could take charge and then I had to find a way to take charge of my life. And drive the narrative. And because it was either I lay there in bed and felt sorry for myself and cried about what could have been and what
should have been,
or I got out of bed and said, dude, you got kids, you got work to do.
Yeah.
On that note, our viewers, obviously, I'm sure there's a lot of them that are going through what you went through 20 or so years ago when we were 32. And we know sisiwa with le COVID, and abantu, they were losing job left, right and center. and even now with this technology for IR, abantu they're losing. There's lots of retrenchments and so forth. So there's abantu whom they were having imisebenzi right and bane families bebene moto. Some abakwazi uziphika apha, some bafuna indlela babangenza njani. So I think your story will relate kakhulu nomnye osezaphinda bekule position yabo. So I'm very much interested ba so phaya and then uye on the ground lose everything and funa ukuqala from scratch. Leyo kulapho ubomi uqala ukuphila khona, the challenge, and uba uzipick up and then be this Olwethu Hoyana ongumuntu amaziyo oyi-10 so nomdla.
How do you go from broke, nothing, to the owner of one of the most known chin bars?
Look, guys, I mean, there's no
formula for this.
There's no formula. I've always felt that the world is continuously evolving, and it would be sad on our part if as citizens of the world we did not seek to understand the changes that are happening around us and how do we then fit into the bigger picture. You get what I'm saying? So you need to arm yourselves with a number of things, but then I think education is definitely one of those, but not everybody is fortunate enough to be able to afford an education. But I also think I've always felt that if I failed at everything for my children, if at least I instilled character, I would have won half of the battle. Okay, so I think life needs us at many material times to dig deep into the character that you are. And I mean, those things are given and instilled in you by your parents, could be your grandparents, or it could be anybody around you, who says, Damien, listen, don't sit there and cry. Get up and go and fight. And they might not tell you how to fight, but they say you sitting there is not going to actually help you solve anything. So like I say, the world is changing and we need to adapt. We must accept that it shall change. And so if you don't further educate yourself, or you're not trying to understand what's happening on the streets, a lot of people are surviving on being street smart. And actually, most of the really successful people are actually street smart. We read a lot of stories about people, no degrees, but they became multi-billionaires, university dropouts, so many of those guys. Steve Jobs was one of them, So my point is, we've got to get up and fight another day. All the time. You're gonna fail a number of times, but the real failure of any individual is when you don't do anything at all. Then you've already failed.
So after you losing your job, it was a blessing in a way now, sayibona njalo, because of indlela yakubuyisa back again to East London.
100%. So my mother always said to me, Fundin, even soldiers at war, okay?
Is that by us? Suppose. Oh, Jesus.
Well, listen, these are the perks of living by the beach.
I guess so.
Yeah, so I was saying, my mother and one of, I'll call it the character building sessions, would say to me, and mothers are actually, all of them are like that. You know, when the world hits you, they say, "Mntanam, why don't you come back home?" When you're like thinking, yo, you know, and all of us were like, no, Mom, I'm fine. My mother would arrive in Joburg for a meeting and she'd find me swollen, and because I had a fight at a party, she'd cry. And then I'm like, no, Mom, I'm okay. But the reality is that what she was really saying is that when soldiers are at war, and the war is not going that way, their way, they will always go back to base.
Yeah.
To re-strategize. So what this means is that in life, you can look at life and consider it as a war, and you lose some battles.
Yeah.
So war is a bigger thing than battles are in between. So you lose this battle, you go back to base, okay, move on to the next battle, you take that, you know what I mean? And this is just the reality of life. So I came back to East London to take a break. You know, of such a high horse, and you know, we are raised to go to school, study, make money, start a family, and raise a family, and nobody tells you what happens further than
after that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at 30, 32, you got a good profile job. This is your mindset.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get married. I'm ready, but then because you don't have a job, you lose this person that you want to get married to. Because I mean, we were talking about it just now before, you know, we went live.
Yeah.
Why must somebody sit and wait for you whilst you go through your life issues because of love? Where has love ever fed anybody, put food in anybody's stomach?
Yeah.
You know, and these are the realities of life. So I came back home, and I saw a gap. I was like, hey, bro, this is 2010. I left here 1998. People are still listening to music in dark spaces and sitting on cans and
Crates.
crates. Why? When the world has moved on and ahead for so long. I mean, you know, fortunately, with my work over the years, I'd traveled, I'd gone everywhere.
Yeah.
I'd gone to Spain, partied in Spain, I'd gone to the States, I'd gone, you know, to many countries. And lived and ran and was ahead because of my networks. Yeah. I was ahead in the streets of Joburg. I was that guy. Where's the hottest party? Call Olwethu. Where the nice girls at? Call Olwethu. So I come here and I'm like, well, this place is just stagnant. Nobody is trying. And people are just taking whatever they can. Yeah. So, yeah, well, here's a beer. You can have it whether it's hot or cold. But that's all we have. You know, no, we don't have chairs, so stand. What? So I thought, well, here's a gap. And I think I'd been, you know, sometimes you're so close to the wall that you can see the patterns. You know, and sometimes you got to move back. Yeah. And you're like, oh, really? Oh, so there's that feature there. So I've been in Johannesburg since '98 and been at the forefront of the youth, whatever you want to call it, for 12 years straight. Yeah. You know, wanting to get ahead. Yeah. They call it, it's a red race. Yeah. You know, you want to get ahead, you want to make more money, you want to outsmart the next person, you want, and that's what Joburg is about. It's about survival. Yeah. So I came back home and I fell in love. I mean, I remember I'd come home and which is what everybody does.
Yeah.
I'd come home in December, and then we go to Cape Town for the 31st and whatever.
Yeah.
Then we go to Joburg. And I remember driving out of Beacon Bay and crying, driving by myself on my way to Cape Town. And I cried all the way. By the time I came around, and then disappeared. I've been crying, not because of anything, but I had been so happy at home.
Yeah.
I started doubting. When in Cape Town, I was like so unsure. I didn't even know if I wanted to do this trip.
Yeah.
I felt the warmth of home and the simplicity of life, and I was like, well, maybe one can live here. Maybe. Well, at least let me try.
Yeah.
So I opened a spot here at the beachfront called Talamanca Music Lounge.
Yes.
That's where we discovered Zahara and what a beautiful time. And I came back home, and again, you maybe not making as much money as what you would be making in Johannesburg.
Yeah.
But you feel good because you know that you're making a difference to somebody's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether it's by providing jobs,
yeah,
or by giving people platforms. Because now, for the Joburg guys who knew me and had worked with me, I was now the go-to guy in the Eastern Cape.
Yeah.
Hey, Olwethu, we want to this and that, or who might be able to help us, And then Zahara here is trying to get a contract. And for me, it's an easy call. Pick up the phone. TK, listen, man, I got to talk to you. There's this girl with this golden voice. You need to come down. Figure. And we have the Zahara was a star.
Yeah.
Today. Or Deep London. Giving people platforms.
Yeah.
And very fulfilling. Just to affect people in a positive manner, socially.
Yeah.
To uplift themselves. I always say I'm very fortunate. I mean, I get to do what comes naturally to me, which I wish for every kid.
Yes.
Because if you do what comes naturally to you, there's no way you're not going to succeed. This is why there's so many musicians in the world, and they're all making money.
Yeah.
Right? They're all doing the same thing they sing, but they've got different interpretations, and the world is so vast.
Yeah.
So, I don't.
I think mine is then to then speak from that evolution of the lounge to it now becoming Oh My, and then having Oh My, its growth and its development and its expansion is always things that people always talk about. Yeah. So talk to us about that whole process.
Okay, so I came to Islam and I identified a gap, and I found a place, signed the lease, and called it Talamanca.
Yeah.
Well, why Talamanca? Well, so it's a beach in Ibiza, which really impressed me, and I thought I'll bring a little bit of
European
but
flavor.
It actually means nothing to anyone, And by the way, this is now I want to link back to what I said earlier, where we must always try and move with the times and reinvent ourselves. So here I am. I'm saying, okay, through entertainment, guys, there's no way you are going to make money. This is me now assessing the local situation. You put a bar there, you put sound, and everybody comes in and they dance, and that's great. But you don't provide a comfortable chair and a table for them to put their drinks, right? So what I'm forced to do is that I'm forced to say, damn it, give me a double Johnny Walker Black and whatever. So I give you $90, right? But you give me a chair like this and a nice table for me. I'm saying, Damon, give me a bottle of Johnny Walker Black. So my spend now has moved from 90 rand every hour. I'm committing to maybe 2-3 hours at 1,500 rand.
Just by changing
those margins just went from here to here.
You understand what I'm saying? So also I'm saying, socially you start influencing people and you say to people, guys, you can't come out and meet business people like yourselves and Mr. Madikiza over there and want them to take you seriously and you're wearing your nightgown.
Look proper. Represent.
Do you understand?
Yeah, image is everything.
So can you just pull yourself towards yourself?
Please.
And then you might get this guy's time. Right? So this is now us uplifting ourselves socially. To be a better people. Because now, I don't know if you've ever noticed a guy that goes out drinking a maybe suit. That guy.
He's very aware of himself.
He's very aware. That guy will never get into a fight because he can't. But go and have a beer with a guy that's wearing a rugby shirt and a Paris t-shirt.
Especially after the team loses.
You get what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, this is now my experience from traveling, and I'm saying, guys, we can do it here. When we feel better about ourselves, we do things better. We communicate better. We laugh better. We take ourselves seriously. An interesting statistic, and this is real. So the craze in around 2010 is French champagne. We're just discovering Moet and Verve, right? There's a French champagne at 2,000 rand a bottle if you're in a club. So in East London, here at the beachfront, we keep 2 bottles of Moet, 2 bottles of Verve, because it's also expensive. I mean, it's 500 rand maybe a bottle, but you're gonna keep it there, right? Unless a job guy walks in through those doors. But Bongras and Crown on all of these JCs, those things are flying, right? They're cheaper. Nothing wrong with them, by the way. But my profit margins are on that French champagne because I can sell it at 2,000 rand a bottle. This thing is 120. I can't sell it at much more than 300 rand. Now you do the maths. Would you rather make a profit of 100 rand on each bottle or 1,000 rand on a bottle? Right? So we'd get embarrassed. So ufike wena, you want to entertain people, you got a page. Tender yawe patele, hey, give me 4 of those bottles, those tattoos they have, and an hour or 2 later, if I need more, we don't have, because it's 11 o'clock at night. There's no bottle store that's open, right? So you live there, you are a very dissatisfied customer. You know, what do you go? You know? But fast forward to today.
Yeah.
Out of this here, anyways, I'm selling 700 cases of champagne per year.
Let's go
From 10, 12 years ago where you couldn't move a bottle.
Yeah.
Couldn't move a
And
bottle.
I'm just
700 cases.
So Cafene here or Azuro, they are selling their own because we've come in with influenced people to celebrate themselves.
Yeah.
Find moments and maybe make it part of your everyday. You know, this thing of, you know, but of course, like I say, you know, it comes with, sorry, I should have switched this off. It comes with time and effort and actually and educating people, you know, about, you know,
the finer things in life.
100%, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm saying my politics. My politics are about I politic through food.
Yes, sir.
Through food and how you how good you should feel about yourself and where you are from. So the OH is my initials, Olwethu Hoyana.
Okay.
Right? Oh my is how you should feel
when you walk in.
When you walk in.
Yes, sir.
And you know, oh my word, oh my God, oh my, you know?
Yeah.
Because I want to connect with my customers emotionally.
Yeah.
And that's my brand. Because if we connect emotionally, we're always going to work together. You know. So I create spaces where you must feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
Or if you're not feeling good, you must work out the feeling better.
Yeah.
Right? And I do traditional food. I put traditional food into contemporary spaces.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense that you are growing up and having umngqusho, nomasi, nomleqwa, and all of these things. That's our staple food.
Yeah.
Right? But you can't, when you get to Sandton City or to Hemingway's, you suddenly can't have those things because
you need Qhakaza
or walking there and tata mayeza kwa clicks discam.
Yeah.
When they walk out here,
yeah, moving from selling just alcohol to making sure now about kukho ukutya or game and so forth. Is it also from uJoburg ubona izinto zenziwa njani pha okanye you realize business weekends only and for you to sustain and grow funeka kube khona ezinye izinto?
Partly I realize, alcohol is a business, but also it's about where you find comfort, as a business person. So, like I said, I realized that we like simple food. Every single household here cooks on the rice, stew, and whatever. Okay, but not every night does your wife have a chance to cook or somebody who's from out of town feels like home cooked food, but they're away from home. So I was like, okay, well, I can maybe expand my market by getting into the food space.
Yeah.
I'm not a chef by profession, so I can't run a fine dining restaurant.
Yes, sir.
I realize that if you want a fine dining restaurant to be successful, it's got to be run by a chef because that's their creativity. That's how they. But I can tell by kitchen, my chef, but chief, this meal in a short rib when you can stew, it's got to taste like customer my things mark. And that's not difficult to find. That's why next week was busy. Uthi or whatever. Right? We'll get there, we'll all eat. Next week we'll go there and eat. You won't be confused and thinking because we've got a similar palate.
Yes.
Now kutheni ufuna icala lenhloko uyotya erangini okanye kwicontainer. You live here in town and Beacon Bay, awukwazi ukufumana icala lenhloko eHemingways and ukhalela lona. Right? So for me, those are my politics. Based on this, I want to have it where I want to have it.
Yeah.
Anywhere in this country, and I want to have it with my French champagne. But there's
together.
There's nothing sexier than two beautiful girls, weaves and
makeup,
everything. At 2 a.m. they've got their bottle of champagne fire. Man,
hey,
you know why? Because in this patriarchal society, as Kulaguyo, right? Hi, manenhloko ayikiwa ngomama. But utatako ina. So at that moment, that girl is saying, "You utata, we can't believe you." Was utataki used to. Sorry, I might have tempered with the mic, but at that moment. It's an emotional thing. So, and that's why 10 years after doing trade, and it didn't take off because, traditional food, like I say, you're competing with every single household.
Yeah.
Right? But as people get busier, so you can be, you live by yourself, you are single, you are not going to cook for yourself.
Some people don't have that.
And you come and do a full meal. I'm there for that guy.
Yeah.
So, but you balance it with a good bar.
Yeah.
So that you can pay rent, you can pay staff, you can, because there's a psychological ceiling. You will not ask why you are paying 280 rand for a 300 gram steak, but you're gonna ask me 10 things that will lose 300. So I'm forced by lose things selling 100 rand.
Hey, yeah, balancing act.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we've grown. We've got. Just after COVID, I opened another store in Rivonia.
After COVID, West.
I bought a store there.
Yeah.
And then about
the store is also using the Omai brand?
Yeah.
Or so still Omai brand?
It's Omai, yeah.
Okay. Good.
And then I've just opened my third store, also in Sandton, called the Meat and Hustle.
Okay.
But you're on it's more of a chisanyama, an urban chisanyama.
A Sandton.
So it's a restaurant, but menu chisanyama.
So why didn't you go with that Omai brand? Why? Because of ufuna abantu bayazi babesaya pha uyotya inyama ufuna that meat grill or?
Well, it's a number of things. Unmanaged growth can be problematic. So whilst I would want to, I think I will eventually franchise the Omai brand.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
But I'm not going to do it at all costs. So the Omai in Rivonia is maybe 6 kilometers away from the Meat and Hustle.
Okay.
But it's also the Meat and Hustle, like I said, the offering is more of a, I lead with bride meat.
Yeah, it's different.
You know, so although you still get a few traditional offerings, but it's a bride.
It's a bride.
But it's a concept now that can grow on its own.
Fortunately, Kulendo yale on my brand, because of your brand, it's so strong to a point. Before you open it on my, there was a news cafe. And the news cafe is a brand on these big cities and so forth. But it didn't live by it was successful up. And at the same place when you took over, you change it, you put your flavor, and then Linda we change. So we want la brand and also now unayo a Gauteng. So just imagine now a national brand coming to East London with all its name, power, nendo zayo ezenza ba maybe ithandwe, but ingalenzi ixesha. But wena ingu Olwethu Hoyana ukwazile uthi make sure London same place and everything within a short space of time. Iphindi be right, be success, and yona ndawo wonke umuntu ayithandayo apha east London. And that thing, it says a lot about wena and the way of running business. And I think maybe your experience, as you've said, about you've worked from HR, marketing, nazo zonke izinto, and ezinye izinto, as much as it says wakhula waphela uluza la msebenzi, but they were building up once they understand almost everything and understand abantu bafuna ndoni yabo. So hence it is important for me, and I would love to see in future the my brand being a franchise. So please.
Qhakaza wants it to be franchise.
No, look, I received that. You know, people have a mistake of thinking, entertainment. Maybe I think there might be a little science to the madness, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
You know, let me open a catering company, let me start an events company. But I think most importantly, we need to, with anything that we do, for example, with entertainment, I can tell you, there's no one size fits all approach.
Yeah, definitely.
You understand? I might not be able to get an Omai working in Tanzania.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's because, I mean, and I'm mentioning Tanzania specifically because we had a capello in Tanzania and a chicken licky that did not work.
Yeah.
And it's not because chicken licky is a bad brand.
Yeah.
Or capello, but it's just placed at the wrong place. Because when you look at the sociographics was in Tanzania, abantu ufuna bathenge uchicken licky bayophangela ePhisho emini okanye town.
Yeah.
So ngubani pha okulokishini, the likelihood is that akaphangeli. So how are they going to afford these wings? And if you're a capello, I remember noticing the cheapest meal there was 110 rand.
Then.
And you look around and you're like, man, these guys are up against something. Because 110 rand at auction is a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely.
Kume caravan yamakwinya 20 rand ufumana 10.
Like
you can feed all of us. And then invest in another 20 rand with Russia and a balloon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And these are the realities. You understand? You know, when you open a business, you've got to be clear about whom you are targeting. You can't be everything to everyone.
Yes, definitely.
And you must be okay actually with not being able to service that person that can't afford you, or that can't, that you can't meet standard. You must be clear. You know, is segmentation.
Yeah.
And I mean, just lastly, with the point yakho, you know, I used to open spaces, you know, with entertainment must say Thailand is showbiz. So you like exclusivity. You know?
Yeah.
And so before Hemingway's, I was at the Beacon Bay Crossing.
Okay.
And beautiful space, nice secluded nightclub, but it actually was just, it wasn't working for me as a person behind it was working for my landlord because my landlord would collect rent, you understand?
Yeah.
But as a place in terms of, that's why we have 4 P's of marketing. You got to take that thing very seriously.
Yeah.
Position, place, and so. Place is key.
Yeah.
Because my business there was two nights per week.
Yeah.
8 nights. I'm not saying 2 days.
Yeah.
2 nights. Because my
nights
business
specifically,
was 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. Right?
Yeah.
And it put me under pressure.
Yeah.
Because remember, there's no one who's there in that vicinity. You know, first of all, we are not real as black people. We're not diners.
Yeah.
So ungagcwala eSanuk.
Yeah.
Because
Next door.
will say
Yeah.
Tina, it's incidental. You know, right? Now we got this huge place. You're paying rent for 31 days in a month, but you're only functional for 8 nights. Can you imagine how much you got staff, you got rent, you got stock? I moved to Hemingway's just before COVID. And I realized, and first of all, I made a decision, which based on my 5 years experience, per land of paying rent, 31 days, got operating 8 nights.
Yeah.
I want to be in window in the traffic.
So it's every day.
Well.
And I want to actually be in business from 11 in the morning and maybe until 2. Because that gives me 13 hours of business.
Yeah.
As opposed to being compressed between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Like 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. You're actually getting the bad money.
Yeah.
You know? Money
People have already spent.
Because when you leave the house at 9 a.m., you start spending until you stop spending when you get back into the house at 2. On the shop, daily dispatch, airtime, Red Bull. Then you're going to continue spending as you go through the day, right?
Yeah.
By 11 p.m., you got very little left. So you put yourself in, so I wanted to put myself in a better position to generate money under no better of what. 12 hours, more than 12 hours.
I think, we have extensively covered. We've dug deep.
Yes, man. Before we close, I understand, but just few minutes. Fascinated by someone who goes against odds. I understand while up East London, the market East London, some abanda kwazile ukhulele apha uyabazi, but moving the brand now to eGoli. And eGoli ngoku Olwethu waziwayo Eastern Cape yonke, there's so many other Olwethu abakhulu ba, and nje uyimuvile eGoli ngoku uyimivisa kweyona ndawo like Sandton, and we've got 2 brands eziphakathi, 2 different businesses, and kwindawo yona enkulu challenge, and if you win there then capture share umzansi neAfrica, because abantu all over they go there if bazafuna uchisa nyama okanye bazafuna ubumnandi baza kwindawo yakho. So that feeling so far, how is it like? Because we call after COVID, and it's very important for us because we want to see you win and once you win uza encourage wonke umuntu obukeleyo apha ba it's possible uba ungaba ngwasekweleha and qala into and ukwazi uyibamba ku South Africa yonke.
Yeah, man, look, I think one of the big characteristics of entrepreneurship is self-belief.
Sure.
You know, and it's often said, you need to put 10,000 hours into something for you to master it.
Yeah.
True.
So whether you're an athlete, whether you're a cook, or you know, because after the 10,000 hours, everything becomes, what's the word I'm looking for? Everything becomes almost automatic.
Yeah.
You have a gut feel, but you know it.
Yeah. It's in you already.
Yeah.
That sixth sense is there.
100%. That's the word I'm looking for. You know, so, and also, another characteristic of entrepreneurship is that you always challenge yourself. We get bored easily.
Yeah.
So once I'd set up Hemingway's, and it was clearly going, and I'm thinking, okay, this push, and you realize, this thing can't really move beyond this. This is what the market here can afford. Okay, but I want more for this thing to make sense.
Yeah.
So once you conquer something, you're looking for another opportunity. Yeah. To maybe replicate or start something else. You know, and the average millionaire is juggling 5 different income streams. So if this is an income stream, I'm wanting another 2, 3 more. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you start then doing the relevant due diligence. Sandton is Africa's richest square mile. Okay, do I believe in my product? Yes. Akhona amaXhosa that are going to naturally be attracted by utyawukeme okanye necala lentloko. Because it's exactly the same menu.
Yeah.
You understand? And yes, bakhona. The reason ku-aim abedolophini abantu baseGauteng bayophangela and they are earning, and they are very busy abantu baseGauteng.
Yeah.
There's no time to cook. Upheka inhloko is a 4-hour job.
Yeah.
So now I'm saying,
and they can pay.
I'll take that trouble for you. I mean, ipheka and not lose, and it's gonna taste exactly like ola lusu ulufumana emakhaya.
Yeah.
Right? That's my commitment to you. But I want you then to support me.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you a fancy place because I don't want favors from you. Place will be fancy. The place will be as comfortable as your own home.
Yeah.
And, but I'll bring you closer to home.
Yeah.
You know, through this food.
Yeah.
And so it's taken off very, very, very nicely. We are 2 years down the line. They say after 18 months you can then say, I know I've got a business.
Yeah.
So we're 2 years in. We've just opened, like I say, a third branch, not exactly the same, but something similar.
Yeah.
And Qhakaza is like being in New York when there's so it's lovely. We have people, Nigerians are walking in, they're loving the taste of our food.
Yeah.
Ethiopians, I mean, Africa, guys.
It's a very metropolitan area.
100%. You have white people, they're coming in there. I've got pizzas in my menu.
Yeah.
And but other pizza, I've named them after Nguni clans.
Yeah.
Konoqhika Omawawa,
Ubuchao,
Kumalo, Mofukeng. So someone will say, "Hey, pizza in Nubane," but like funny when you land in Paris, you order pizza. It's written in Bang, it's French.
Yeah.
So what you do is that you can get ingredients. Okay, salamaya
Yeah.
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So. Who was to say pizza must be called whatever?
Yeah.
Then you can call it a Damien.
You know that's an idea for future reference.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like I say, sometimes, and people find it really, I mean, I have a lot of people, but I have in man, people love to say themselves. And so what I'm saying is, we have to believe in ourselves, and as a parting shot, I am convinced that our children, because it might be too late for some, but we have to allow our children to do what comes naturally to them.
Yeah.
Because if you know baller, and they're always out on the playing field and they come back and say to Daddy, I want to play football. You must allow them to.
Yeah.
Allow them to, because they will fall on the playground and go back and play. And we know sports, there's money in sports.
Yeah.
There's money in things that our parents didn't believe. And maybe they were granted to think that Hyman, anamdana mnawuza ukhabe ibhola, anamdana uzaba yikhapenda, hamba mbofunda. But what's the point of forcing a child to go and study medicine when they don't have the mind? Okanye umuntu ongayofunda law. The people are doing jobs that they hate
with a passion.
But the moment umuntu does what comes to them naturally, they'll do it over and over and they will succeed.
They won't feel like working as well.
Yes, so for me, I might come here complaining, but I'm 6. But you know what? It's easy for me, even at 47, to do it every day because I've been doing it since I was 20. But it comes naturally to me. I love it. And
you love what you do.
I love it, and I don't have to DJ anymore, but I can curate music. By getting DJs who play what I like. What I think my people would like.
You are in touch with the streets.
My job is done. You understand? So if I can create a product that you like, whilst I do my passion. Usain Bolt will run that 100 meters for you at the click of a head because he's good at it. He knows he's good at it. And at a certain time, someone will come in and they'll be better. But they must step up. They must step up.
Olwethu, you said something very profound, and I actually wanted to end the show, but just because you brought up this specific instance, because it relates directly to us, because Qhakaza Mntase actually belongs to a foundation called the Artistic Alternative Foundation, which is tough, right? And it is literally founded based on that very premise that you touched on, where not every child is going to want to be a doctor or a lawyer, but that still doesn't mean that their dreams are invalid.
100%.
So Tough seeks to capacitate young up-and-coming artists, and one of its biggest goals is to create that type of entertainment industry that you find in your Johannesburgs, in your Sandtons, but then build it in the Eastern Cape, built by us. So this is where the question becomes a little more technical. How then would you, as someone who has had years, decades of experience at the highest level of entertainment, advise us as Tough, the organization, on how to build said industry? How would you guide us if that sounds, yeah.
Look, it's a tricky question.
Yeah.
Because there's one thing, there's what you as tough seek to achieve, but you're also dealing with different individuals in the artists themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go back a little bit. You know, when I came back, and with my whole network, radio and whatever, and then I started working with artists here at Talamanca. We used to have Thursday shows, which is where Zahara, came up, and there's a wealth of talent here. We have a problem though.
Yeah.
The bright lights are always going to be a factor. Johannesburg is appealing.
Yeah.
Right? And so it should be, I guess. But we have to believe, and we have to have the artists believing that this they can do from home. Because it circumvents a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's tough to survive in Johannesburg.
Yeah.
It's tough, more so for women, more so for artists who are struggling. Because we've got to live on 1,000 rand a day. Right? And it doesn't matter how many cousins you have. You go to Johannesburg with the like cousin, I'm a mid-rand. She's also, it's tough. So if you apply, you're going to be an extra mouth, and then a month or two down the line, the relationship is sour because we are seeing that. But at home, for example, and go in, you've got the house, whatever. That's the environment you grew up in. You want to get out of it through maybe this arts, but you know what? You can sleep there and you'll eat like you are going, right? As opposed to going to prostitute yourself in Hillbrow or in Johannesburg for survival. You understand? But also, organizations like yours, you know, need stakeholders, and so businesses should be, you guys must be aligning yourselves to businesses who can maybe aid here and there. But we also, I think we have a lot that lies in the hands of our government. You understand? Not that government has got NABO, but they definitely have those kind of responsibilities. Do you understand? Social responsibilities. So they will have budgets to fund those kind of things because artists must eat. Artists must dress. Artists, you understand what I'm saying? And so Joburg promises that because of packaging. But not everyone who gets to Johannesburg is successful. Right? And the road to success is littered with all of those things. So a lot of them fall through the cracks. You understand? Because, well, they couldn't handle it. On a cold night, somebody offered them maybe drugs and that kept them warm. The next thing they are hooked. You get what I'm saying? So it's a tough ask. Excuse me.
Excuse the pun.
It's a tough ask, but it's not impossible. It's about the right conversations, and I think, you know, all of us when it gets to a certain point, we want to aid somewhere. You know, people, but also, you know, people give from a sense of comfort. You know, every now and then I've got to feed 30 kids who are who need to get to a sports meeting somewhere where they need lunch and whatever. And then I look at 30 meals, it doesn't do much to my business. It's not going to hurt my business. 30 lunch boxes, you know, but it makes a hell of a difference to somebody who doesn't have. You know what I mean? And that kid who might have had to raise hungry, today might feel stronger because they had something to eat, before their race, and they won it, and it gave them impetus to run another day.
Yes.
So you must have conversations with the right sort of people, but also, most importantly, because you guys are talking on behalf of these artists, but these artists have got to believe that, the only thing I always said, the only thing you need in Johannesburg is the PR. So angena at the studio and they sing and they polish their thing and whatever, and they've got a good managing structure around them. You set up interviews with your magazines and your newspapers and 2 radio stations, and they go to Johannesburg for a week. Then you've got a stakeholder that can say, I can help towards the accommodation for these 3-4 days, so that it's little things.
Yeah.
And then Lamnana Buye, Azoklalaba Wabo, and continue and whatever. We don't all have to move to Johannesburg. Durban is a prime example of that. Most Durban artists are still based in Durban.
Yeah.
But that's because from Jesus' time, as economic what MEC there, they invested in their art.
Yeah.
So they've always had support from their government. If it's not the city, it's and so on. So we still have to get to that stage, and good luck, guys.
It's a long road ahead, as you heard. I think we have thoroughly exhausted, extensively so we've dug. Olwethu, once again, thank you so much for your time. I understand last night was one of your busiest nights, and we have taken you from the warmth of your bed, but we thank you once again for your time. Thank you once again for allowing us to pick your brain, to speak to you. Man. Are there any last words that you might have for any young person watching you from home? Your camera's right there, kind sir. Speak to them.
Yeah, look guys, thank you for the opportunity. It's always great, and I think to have this kind of opportunities where we speak to our people. I think one of the biggest challenges that our children have, or the community has, today is, kids don't have heroes anymore. And we need to be heroes for our community, and we need to be available to impart experiences. But I think most importantly, we need to live to fight another day.
Yeah.
And for the adults at home, I'd say, let's work on the characters of our children. Because when we've got the character in tune, we've won 90% of the battle of life.
Yeah.
Because it's your character that's going to take you to the next. That's going to keep propelling you.
Yeah. Budlonamo, anything from your side, Chris?
No, as you said, man, sabulela kakhulu na Olwethu. This is very insightful, and in our up and downs, and yabona lisaba ungumuntu nje soze indlela yakho ivele ihambe njena, and we wish you all the luck in your business journey, and we're always going to be there in supporting you, and thank you for making sure we're shining the light and making sure you're representing the Eastern Cape. So seeing Qhakaza Mntase siyabulela.
Qhakaza Mntase.
Thank you.
And we out.
Wow.
Ase look shona lilanga sabe nikhona nyana Sabe ndikhona nyana Sabe tipeke mgodini Phela uzungimele nyana Sabe tipeke mgodini Zamela wena nyana
2008 uNkulunkulu wandiphindla lifa. He's my firstborn, a smart kid and ekhandele khulu. I was too young back then inthanda istrato kakhulu. Never had a chance yokubana ndimnikeze nothando mna nomamakhe. Sohlukana ngexesha wayikhulele kuba nansoyiko kube ekhaya abazali bothini plus I was too young. I was not ready for a kid. I can only imagine the pain awayifila ngaphakathi. But impilo iyaqhubeka unyana mzange ndimlahle. Always there for him naxana edinga uncedo lukatatakhe. Bulela umama notata bamthatha bamfaka ekhaya bamamkela njengomzukulwana wokuqala lonyana yena unyanam. Akhonto bemthanda ukudlula abazali bam. Now that bengasekho ngaske yena ehlala ekuqaleni kwam. Kwazi ukumbonisa ngobomi athatha imfundiso zam. Ndimsebenzele ndimfundise icace ukubana ngunyana wam.
Aselukushonela ilanga Sabe ndikhona nyana Naxa liphuma ilanga Sabe ndikhona nyana Sabe tipeke mgodini Phela uzungimele nyana Sabe tipeke mgodini Zamela wena nyana
Ngamela ugcwala zinyembezi Qoqa nivuke ekuseni ndingayazi uba beniphupha ntoni okanye kwenzekeni. Ubaba mbulelele ntoni imibuzo nama ndiyazi into endiyaziyo ukubana unyana wam ushiyeke ngenamama ushiyeke ngenabani. Shiywe nangumakhulu lo bemthanda ngenye ilanga nivele mthatha kowabo ndimzise endlini. Phambi kokuba sifike endlini ndamdlulisa emadlakeni. Zangakwazi uzibamba unyana wam ndambonelile ekhala mini so young kodwa bebathanda bamshiyile. Sometimes I wish I ngaze ndimosule zonyembezi ndihlale ndima njengotata nangona ngasekho lula. Umthandazo wam kubantwana ndokubona uyindoda ngoba ndizibuza imibuzo mhlawumbe uthini xa nocinga ngam. Xa kuthethwa ngotata wena uthini xa nothetha ngam. Noba imeko uthini ungazukhohlwa ubungunyana wam. Ndiyakuthanda ke nyana le ngoma isuka kutata wakho.
Aselukushonela ilanga Sabe ndikhona nyana Naxa liphuma ilanga Sabe ndikhona nyana Sabe tipeke mgodini Phela uzungimele nyana Sabe tipeke mgodini Zamela